Home prices are falling in 14 of the top 50 U.S. metros, and home prices are also falling in 110 of the top 300 U.S. metros. At the same time, we have new home prices are also off from the peak about $60,000. So new home prices are falling, and we've got 1 in 7 home buyer contracts being canceled before the home closes. So it sounds like the housing market is crashing out, but there are a lot of details behind the numbers. And it's really not that simple. There's an untold story that we're going to get to today. And if you are wondering, hey, what's happening with the housing market? You know, you want an overview, you want some details, you want some crazy stories, some crazy stats. That's what we're going to look at today on the Housing Nerd, because there's just a bunch of info out there. And on this week's update, I'm going to do things a little different than I normally do. I'm going to look at the national Redfin update briefly, but then I've got some other articles to share with y'all that I think are pretty amazing and pretty startling, right? So we've got like this: home prices. This is the Redfin article. Home prices drop in 14 major U.S. metros, including parts of Florida, Texas, as buyers gain an upper hand. I've got this one to share with you from Resi Club. Number of housing markets with falling home prices jumps to 110, up from 31 in January. So more and more home markets across the U.S. are prices are falling. And then I also have this one to share with you. 1 in 7 pending home sales fell through last month, the highest June level on record. So 1 in 7 homes are getting canceled. And then we're going to look at new home prices. Those are down. Median home prices down. And then I've got this other article for us to look at too, which is all about rate cuts. All about rate cuts. And so this one is Trump wants to unleash America's housing market, and it's throwing his support behind Marjorie Taylor Greene's big plan for U.S. real estate. I don't know if it's her plan or not, but we're going to talk about what Trump wants to do with interest rates, where interest rates are right now, what's happening with those. We're even going to talk about lumber. We're going to talk about lumber. I watched a video from the Uneducated Economist last night. I thought his material was fantastic to share with y'all because he's got some startling data behind lumber prices and what's happening with lumber and new home building. So if you're joining us, hit the like button for YouTube. I appreciate it. And if you have a metro you want me to analyze, I will do that today as well. All right. Packet Watchdog, what's up? Unless publicly traded companies and foreigners can't buy U.S. real estate, zoned land, or homes, I don't see homes on a national average going below 2020 median sale price, where I think things would be a fire sale compared to home prices in 2010 to 2012. Yeah, let me go back to your comment here. Unless publicly traded companies and foreigners can't buy. Yeah, there was something in the big, beautiful bill, wasn't there, about, thanks for your comment, Packet Watchdog. This is a great comment, by the way, kind of unique. Yeah, there was something in that big, beautiful bill about foreign buyers and taxes, I think, on foreign buyers, but I think it was changed at the last minute, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, I mean, unless publicly traded companies, so you're saying like BlackRock, Blackstone, Black Knight, American Homes for Rent, those type of companies, if they hedge funds, whoever, is that what you're saying, Packet Watchdog? If they can't buy homes, then you're going to see home prices drop, you're saying. Understood. Yeah, I mean, it's all about supply and demand, right? If the other thing is, if a bunch of supply comes online, not only from people selling or from buyers not buying, but if new home builders just keep building more homes, we're going to look at that today. Are home builders building more homes? We're going to look and find out. But let's get to this update right now. And thank you for the comment. Exactly, BlackRock, Blackstone, etc. Yeah. So if these publicly traded companies can't buy homes, you're saying that, and foreigners can't buy homes, and that's a big contribution to the housing market. I think Melody Wright's been saying that about foreign buyers, that they're completely pulling back. They're not buying homes anymore. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have the data around that, honestly, right now. I do know that the big boys, the big institutional investors are net sellers, but people say they're net sellers, but they own like 50,000 homes or something, right? So like it's going to take years for them to selling at the pace they're selling now to deplete their inventory. They still own tons of homes that they're cash flowing. They're just like, you know what? There's some of these homes we don't want anymore. We overbought, paid too much, like any investor does, and trims back their portfolio. But it doesn't mean that like life's over, right? For them. But I understand what you're saying. You're probably right. All right, let's get to this article from Redfin. U.S. home prices obviously drop in 14 major U.S. metros, including parts of Florida and Texas, as buyers gain the upper hand. You know, one of the things that's happened since Rocket Mortgage took ownership of Redfin is that they are much quicker on coming out with these updates. These come out now like clockwork every morning, every Thursday morning. The link for this is in my description below. But it says prices are declining in certain places as supply of homes for sale outpaces demand, with high cost and economic uncertainty sidelining would-be buyers. The median home price fell in 14 of the 50 most populous U.S. metro areas this week. Oakland, California, saw the biggest drop with a 6.8% year-over-year decline, followed by 2 Florida metros and 2 Texas metros, West Palm Beach, Jacksonville, Austin, and Houston. Prices are falling in metro areas because the housing market is slow due to housing costs and economic uncertainty, with homes taking longer to sell than a year ago. In every major metro, and more home sellers than there are buyers in much of the country. In West Palm Beach, for instance, the typical home that went under contract during the 4 weeks ending July 27th took 93 days to do so, the longest period of all metros in the analysis, and up 18 days from a year earlier. Pending home sales are down 1.4% year over year in West Palm Beach, and supply is up 7.7%. Nationwide, the median sale price rose 2% year over year to just shy of its record high. But that uptick is small compared to the 5% to 6% increases that were common in late 2024 and early 2025. And Redfin economists expect national prices to decline 1% annually by the end of this year. It's crucial that you understand that obviously, I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, the housing market doesn't crash or prices don't fall apart in all locations altogether. There are a lot of markets that are defying gravity when it comes to the housing market. I'm out of Columbus, Ohio. And by the way, my name is Jason Ferrier. I am the housing nerd. I didn't mention that at the beginning. I'm too excited to share this info with you. And I am in Columbus, Ohio, or in the Columbus, Ohio area. And prices here in the market, they're defying gravity. Defying gravity. What's crazy is homes in Columbus are more expensive than Houston. Unbelievable, right? But they are. The median U.S. asking price has already lost steam, dipping to its lowest level in 5 months. That's how much people are asking for homes this week, and posting its smallest increase since February, except for the prior 4-week period. That signals that more and more sellers are pricing their home lower from the start to meet buyers where they are in terms of price expectations. That's good. You got to have correct expectations if you're going to sell your home. If you don't want to sell your home and you want to list it and waste your time, waste your realtor's time, then price it too high. And that's a sure way to waste your time. Well, actually, it doesn't waste much of your time, because if you're a seller and you price it too high, ain't no one going to come and see your home. And because they're not going to come and see your home, buyers are like, no, thanks. Why even see that? No amount of pictures, marketing, Facebook marketing, video, it don't matter. If your price is not right, people are not going to come and see it. That's the real market. That's like how markets should function. Tell me if I'm wrong. Comment and tell me if a normal market is where price matters, because it does. Monthly mortgage payments have lost steam too, dipping to a median of $2,671 this week, the lowest level since January. So prices, your monthly mortgage payments coming down. Not very much, though. Sellers need to start coming to terms with two things. One, homes are more often going to sit on the market longer than a week or two before they sell. And two, buyers are gaining the upper hand, said James Goulden, a Redfin premier agent in Boston. I advise my sellers to be realistic about the price they're going to get based on the market research I provide, while also taking into account which direction the market is moving, especially if they want multiple offers. I'm also reminding sellers to be patient and not panic. Sure, many homes have been selling within a week for the last several years, but that's not historically normal. It's not. That's for sure. It's not. It's not. They have to reorientate themselves to the fact that it may take several weeks or more before receiving an acceptable offer. That's true. Like, I remember back in before COVID when I was flipping homes in Columbus, and it took like 45 days to get a home in contract. And that was good. Like, that was normal. And we priced them correctly. So in a correctly priced market, homes can sit a few weeks. People have short memories, though. Now, these are two warning signs. You want two warning signs for the market? I would definitely pay attention to this. Pending U.S. home sales are down 1.4% from a year ago, while total inventory is up 8.9%. So pending home sales are down 1.4%. They've been down for this whole year, meaning less people are actually putting houses into contract than last year. Inventory is up, but it's only up 8.9%. And look at this line. This is a cause for concern if you're wanting prices to go lower. New listings are stagnant, up just 0.6% year over year, as some would-be sellers opt to stay put rather than enter the buyer's market. So some sellers are like, I don't want to sell my home right now. I'm not going to sell my home right now. I don't need to sell, so I'm not going to. They're also pulling their home from the market. Some are relisting. I looked at a stat. I tried to find a stat on how many people relist their home. You guys asked that several times. Like, what's the percentage of people that list their home or relist after they take it off the market? It was like, I saw a stat that told me it was like 20%. And I got that from ChatGPT after it did some deep research, but I can't find like an actual source for it. Like, it kind of gave me an estimate based on market knowledge, but I can't find like a chart. If you have a chart on that, let me know, because I can't find one. Redfin used to do it, but they don't do it anymore. So new listings are stagnant, though, and delisted homes are jumping. Daily average 30-year fixed mortgage rate, 6.75%, up from 6.67%. So it's up from 3 weeks earlier, but down from 6.86% last year. Let's check Mortgage News Daily and see what they have to say about rates. 30-year fixed rate, 6.75 today, right? So you can see back, let's see, they're saying last year, if I look at this and go to basically around here, right? 6.67 it's giving me. Now 6.78. What in the world? What did they say again? Huh. I don't know. I see that mortgage rates were actually lower last year on that chart. Right? Yeah, look at this. July 28th, 2025, 6.78. Oh, that's 25. Stupid Jason. $6.67. There you go. So Yeah, they're higher than they were last year. Huh. I don't know. Redfin's incorrect. Well, they're high. We know that. Check this out. This is an interesting article. Since we're talking about mortgage rates, let's talk about this. Trump wants to unleash. I'm really curious what you guys think about this. Trump wants to unleash America's housing market. We don't care about MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hard to say. Hard for me to say anyway. This is really interesting. This article talks about the fact that Trump's trying to push for things to unleash the housing market. One of them is to remove capital gain completely from your primary residence. If it was for investment properties, that would be like insane, but he's not going to do that. So he's talking about, hey, we are going to lower or remove capital gain tax from your primary home. Right now, it's I'm not a tax expert, by the way, disclaimer, but from what I understand, being a real estate person, an investor and a realtor, is that, yeah, you get taxed over $250 of gain if you're filing singly or single filer on your house, or $500,000 if you're joint filing in profit. So that's profit, right? So if you sell your home, if you bought it $100,000, you sell it at $500,000, you get $400,000 in profit. If you're a single earner and filing as a single person, then you would basically be taxed on anything over $250 in gain. And right now, that's pretty easy to do in big, expensive markets, right? In Ohio, yeah, there are people that make that. But I think the average equity in the U.S. is like $299, according to CoreLogic. So there's a lot of people out there with a lot of equity. And so if you sell your home, he's trying to get rid of the capital gain you would get hit with over that $250 right now. So tell me what you think about that. But this is the big one. He's talking about the housing market, and he's saying that a White House Q&A on July 22nd, a reporter asked Trump for his view on this scrapping the tax to help unleash the housing market. So do you think we need to unleash the housing market? That's what Trump thinks. We're thinking about that, Trump replied, but we would also unleash the housing market just by lowering interest rates. If the Fed would lower the rates, we wouldn't even have to do this tax, this, tax abatement. But we're thinking about no tax on capital gains on houses. Here it is. Currently, if you owned your primary home for at least 2 years and sell it with a capital gain, the IRS allows you to exclude up to $250,000, $500,000 for joint filers of the taxable gain. But that exclusion was set back in 1997 when home prices were a lot lower. Trump's comment followed U.S. Rep. MTG recent introduction of the No Tax on Home Sales Act, a bill that would eliminate federal capital gains taxes on the sale of primary residences altogether. Yada, 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 she says. And then it says here, Trump also took aim at the Federal Reserve, no kidding, during his chat with the press, blaming high interest rates for locking would-be buyers out of the housing market and placing the blame squarely on Fed Chair Jerome Powell. By the way, everybody knows this now. Maybe you don't, but the Fed did not change rates yesterday, left them the same. Powell is still too late all the time, Trump said. He should have lowered interest rates many times. Europe lowered their rate 10 times. We lowered ours none. And it's causing a huge problem for people to buy a home. You see, there was another one. I'm just looking here to see if he had any comments. I think that's the comment I was interested in showing you. Yeah, up here. So basically, Trump's saying, hey, if we would lower interest rates, that would help home buyers. That would unlock the housing market. That would unleash the housing market. What Trump doesn't like is that, and tell me if what you think, but it doesn't seem like it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. I mean, Republican or Democrat, it doesn't really matter because it is what it is. He's the president, and like, he wants lower interest rates. He wants to unleash the housing market so there's more churn. There's more people buying homes. Notice he doesn't talk about lower home prices at all. But home prices are dropping. So anyway, that's what's going on with Trump and the interest rates. He just isn't happy. And it was almost like Jerome Powell yesterday in his comments was like, you know what? I don't know. Like he kind of, it seemed like he was throwing it in the face of the administration. Like, watch this. I'm not going to lower rates at all. I'm going to actually talk about raising rates. He kind of hinted that way. That's what I got out of it. So anyway, that's what's happening with mortgage rates. If you're thinking mortgage rates are going to drop soon, I'm not sure they are. I think they're going to be stuck in this range for a while. And I'm honestly not sure we need lower rates. Do you? Do you think we need lower rates? Like the rates the way they are right now may keep the housing market kind of, you may just keep it on the path of being natural. Like, hey, people maybe paid too much for a home over the past few years, or they're in over their head. They need to sell. Foreclosures hopefully will come to market. You got student loans kicking in. So maybe we'll see more inventory, more distress in the market, although we're not really seeing it yet because new listings are down. But it'd be nice to see, more inventory, more buyer power out there. But notice they just don't talk about lower home prices. They talk about lower rates. And we're going to talk about lower home prices versus rates with new homes here in a few minutes, as I got some interesting stuff on that. All right. So anyway, let's go back to this real quick and I'll take some comments. Mortgage purchase applications down 6% from a week earlier. So people are applying for mortgages less, I guess, than they were last week, but they're up 17% year over year. So there's 17% more people applying for mortgages. Crazy. Not refis, mortgages. But the Redfin home buyer demand index that I don't pay a lot of attention to, that's down 5% from a month earlier, down 2% year over year. So if you're out there shopping for a home right now, depending on what market you're in, you're probably seeing less competition. But I want to know from you if you're getting a deal. Are you a buyer out there that's found a deal recently? Are you like, hey, this home used to be 400 grand. I'm going to score it for 320. I'd like to know about it. I'd love to hear your stories about winning. Touring activity. How many people are seeing homes right now? Up 35% from the start of the year. At this time, last year it was up 20% from the start of the year. So there's more people than last year seeing homes, I guess. Touring homes. All right, let me just check the comments real quick. What do we got? 27 people watching. Please hit the like button for me. That's your only fee to get in. Good morning, Tony Mac. What's happening? Return of the Mac, right? Ches, what's happening? Fed lowered rate 3 times last year, yet mortgage rates are higher year over year. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ches. Absolutely correct. Yeah, the bond market does not like the unnecessary lowering of interest rates, I guess. So the bond market was like, no. And that's really what controls mortgage rates. The cuts were political. Yeah, they probably were. We don't need lower rates. No, we do not. I don't think we do. But it doesn't really matter what we want. It matters what's real. That's what we have to deal with. And that's what I try to make the channel about. Tech Ninja, how you doing, man? Core CPE was up 0.3% month over month. That's 3.6% annualized, and tariffs haven't even kicked in. Cutting rates would be moronic. It would be. I think that neutral interest rates coming up. I think the Fed is wanting, or the plan with the Fed is that they're going to increase that neutral interest rate, and they're going to the language they use is much more important than the actual action they have. And their language now is what they use to change the market versus rates, because they know if they go to a zero rate, it may not have the effect that it used to have. So they have to use words. And I'm pretty sure they are targeting a near 2% inflation rate, not 2% necessarily, but somewhat around 2%. So that could be 3.6. And you're right, tariffs haven't even kicked in yet for the most part, I don't think. I don't know if they ever will. A lot of people are saying they'll never kick in. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, let's see. Tech Ninja, what's up? We will probably see 5% annual price declines for the next 2 to 3 years. We won't see a crash to 2020 levels because inflation was 24% since then, and tariffs and inflation will continue. Yeah, that's a great point. Like, if you take into account inflation, like, maybe we won't see prices back to 2020. I hear people on my channel, believe it or not, that say I'm not going to buy until prices come back to 2020 levels. There are ways to get a deal on a home right now. Like, you shouldn't wait for the market to change if you want a deal. Go out and make an offer at that price, the price that you think homes are worth. If that's what you want, you just have to make a lot of offers. Hey, what's up from Ohio? Butler County, crazy high market. Hey, I'll check out Butler County here in a few minutes. The 30-year doesn't care about the Fed rate anyway. You're right, Tech Ninja. It does not care. It does not care. Thank you for chiming in. All right. And give me a thumbs up if you're on. Greatly appreciate it. Share the video. Comment in the video. All that free stuff. All right. Let's look at median sale price. In the U.S., median sale price, $398,700, up 2% year over year, roughly $700 shy of the all-time high. Median asking price, $402,000, up 2.7%. So the median asking price is coming down. That's a good thing. Maybe sellers are starting to get the message. Median monthly mortgage payment, $2,671, up 2.8%. That's the lowest level in 6 months because rates are slightly lower and because prices are actually higher slightly, but rates are slightly lower. Pending sales, 80,000 units. Look at the new listings, though. This is a big problem. A big problem. No one's talking about this. No one. Like, I watch some other YouTubers that I respect on the housing market, and they skip talking about new listings. Like, they'll talk about where new listings went up, Travis, but they won't talk about where new listings went down, and they won't talk about the fact that new listings are now falling. Like, we'll see that in a minute. There's actually fewer new listings now than there was or were last week. Like, it's come down. The numbers come down. And if there was a lot of distress in the market, this number would be higher. You'd have people fire saling their home, throwing it on the market. Not seeing that. This is also a problem here. Active listings. 1,146,000 active listings, 8.9% up. This isn't very much. Like, this is kind of stagnated at this point. And there's a variety of reasons for that. People are taking their homes off the market. There aren't as many people listing homes. There are some buyers out there. You combine all that up into one recipe, and it's a recipe for disaster, I guess, right? If you're looking for more inventory. Months of supply is up, but that's because a lot of homes are sitting on the market for a lot longer. It's not because we're getting more supply, because we're really not. Look at median days on market. You can see it. 40 days, up 6 days. Look at this. I think this is the first time since it's gone to 98% in a while. Average sale to list price ratio, 98.9, down from 99.4. So we're getting about a 1.1% discount on average for a house. All right. Metros with the biggest year-over-year increases. Who are they? Cleveland, Montgomery County, PA, Nassau County, New York, Detroit, and Indianapolis, Indiana, all had price gains. Look at Cleveland, 15%. Ohio prices, folks, are unhinged. Unhinged. They are. Like I said, Columbus is more expensive than Houston now. Oakland, California, West Palm Beach, Florida, Jacksonville, Austin, and Houston, all down year over year in prices. Now, I'm going to divert for a second and show you this article. Look at this. This is from our boy Lance Lambert at Resi Club Analytics. If you don't know who Lance is and Resi Club, if you don't know who those folks are, you got to check them out. They have a free newsletter. I think this is a free newsletter. Yeah, this is a free newsletter. They have paid ones too, but the free ones are great, and they have information no one else has. Lance is fantastic. Number of housing markets with falling home prices jumps to 110, up from 31 in January. So if you look at the top 300 markets, prices are falling in 110. And so this, we were just looking at Redfin data before. That was Redfin data. We're going to go back to that report in a minute. But this report I'm showing you uses Zillow data. So folks like there's a lot of people that use Zillow data, but one of them is Reventure Consulting. Nick at Reventure Consulting uses Zillow data in his app. So national home prices rose 0.2% year over year between June and June, according to the Zillow Home Value Index reading published this week, a decelerated rate from the 3.2% year over year rate between June and June of last year and 2023. So home price growth is decelerating. There's no doubt it's decelerating. Like Redfin has it at 1%, right? Like this is the Redfin data. I'm sorry, 2%. Redfin has home price growth nationally at 2% using the median home price. But if I use the Zillow Home Value Index, which is not median price, it's actually only up 0.2% home prices. And he says, and more metro area housing markets are seeing declines. 31 of the nation's 300 largest U.S. metros had falling home price in January of 2024, but that number kept increasing. We had 80 of the nation's 300 largest metros with year-over-year price decline in April, then 96 in May. Now this month, 110. So this list is growing. The number of metros with price decline is growing. While 36% of the 300 largest U.S. metros are currently experiencing year-over-year home price declines, that share is gradually increasing as the supply-demand balance continues to shift directionally towards buyers in this affordability-constrained and post-housing boom environment. Home prices, though, and this is why I said at the beginning, you got to watch out. You got to look at all the details. So if you're looking to buy a home, depending on where you are, the market's going to be drastically different. Home prices are still climbing in many regions where active inventory remains well below pre-pandemic levels, such as pockets of the Northeast and Midwest. In contrast, some pockets in states like Arizona, Texas, Florida, Colorado, and Louisiana, where active inventory exceeds pre-pandemic 2019 levels, are seeing modest home price corrections. So check this out. This is basically a look at where home prices are falling the most in the U.S. And Redfin doesn't provide this for us. They give us like 5 markets usually that are falling. But I thought it'd be interesting today to show you guys, like, hey, when you take a broad look at the market and you look at where all the top markets are, where is the most pain? Where's the most pain in falling prices? So we could look at it with a map, or we could look at it on a chart. So this is a chart look. And just, I want you to look at what kind of is common here in most of these markets. So the market that has the largest price decline right now is Punta Gorda, Florida, down 12% year over year. Is that a crash? I don't know. Not maybe if you're not, if you're in Punta Gorda, maybe it's not a crash because maybe that's just standard operating procedure. Things go up and down crazy, right? Who knows? Cape Coral, Florida, though, down 10%. North Port, Sarasota, Bradenton, down 8.52. Naples, Marco Island, 7%. Austin, down 5. Tampa, down 5. Vero Beach, Florida, down 5. I'm not sure how to say that. I should, but I don't. In Hawaii, down 5%. Daytona Beach, like if you were Gen X, you were definitely in Daytona Beach during spring break. If you had money, I didn't have any money, so I was never there for spring break. But a lot of, well-to-do friends would always go to Daytona Beach. Down 5%, Daytona Beach. There's a Thibault, is that how you say that? Louisiana, down 5%. There's a Texas, Arkansas, must be on the border, down 5%. Port St. Lucie, down 5%. Florida. So if you just look at this list, so far I haven't found a place yet that's not Texas, Louisiana, or Florida. Okay, Phoenix is on this list. They're down 3.4%, 3.5. San Francisco down 3.3. There's a North Carolina market. I wonder if that's from the hurricane. I don't know. That was devastating. And shout out, by the way, to Melody, Wright, and Travis Spencer at Real Estate Mindset, because they did a bunch of work for that hurricane. Like, they went out there and were like boots on the ground, like volunteered, pulled stuff out of the river, and it was crazy. So give them props for their effort. San Antonio, Texas, down 3.3%. Jacksonville, Florida, down 3%. Lubbock, Texas, down 3%. There's a Georgia down 3%. Excuse me, South Carolina, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach, right? Down 3% year over year. This isn't from peak, down 3%. Then you got some other ones coming into the mix. Tucson, Arizona, Denver, down 3%. A lot of these are like down just under 3%. Stockton, California, Bend, Oregon, Colorado Springs, Raleigh. Look, there's a Midwestern city, Lafayette. Lafayette, Indiana, down 1.9%. That's a Midwestern city. Most of the stuff in the Midwest and Northeast is going up in prices. That's just how it's been. Most of the Rockies, the West Coast for the most part, and the Sun Belt, that's where all the pain is in pricing. And I'll show you one of the reasons why here today. There's a California finally. Yorba City, California, down 1.67. Oh, we had a San Francisco. Oh, no, we have a couple other ones, right? Santa Rosa, Santa Cruz up here, 3%. Stockton, 2%. Fort Collins, Colorado. Lake Havasu. Had somebody on my channel from Lake Havasu last week talking about the housing market, down 1%. Or maybe that was this week. Mobile, Alabama, down 1%. Jackson, Tennessee, all these other ones are down like 0.5%, really non-material, right? But that's it. I mean, those are the markets that are down year over year according to Zillow data anyway. So tell me what you think about that. The link is in the description below if you want to take a look at that yourself. Let's see if Lance has anything else to say in the article that's interesting. I don't know if he does. Here we go. Many of the housing markets seeing the most softness, where home buyers have gained the most leverage, are primarily located in the Sun Belt regions, particularly the Gulf Coast and Mountain West. Many of these areas saw major price surges during the pandemic housing boom, with home price growth outpacing local income levels. Well, go back a second. Home price growth has exceeded local income levels virtually everywhere, right? I mean, so I'm not sure that's a great indicator because they've exceeded it everywhere. As pandemic-driven domestic migration slowed and mortgage rates rose, markets like Tampa and Austin face challenges relying on local income levels to support frothy home prices. This softening trend is further compounded by an abundance of new home supply in the Sun Belt. Builders are often willing to lower prices or offer affordability incentives to maintain sales, which also has a cooling effect on the real estate market. Some buyers who have previously considered existing homes are now opting for new homes with more favorable home builder deals. So real quick, let's just look at this map because this shows us the 1-year change in metro level home prices, where the markets that are down. So if you look at a map of the U.S., where are markets down in prices year over year? Northwest down a little bit, right? Seattle down 0.4%. You got the California, you got the Mountain West. We talked about that. But then you got the Sun Belt. That's where all the pain is, really, in the Sun Belt. This map to me, whoops, sorry. I forgot to share this. Try again. So this is a map that shows you those prices, where they're down year over year. And so you've got the West Coast, the Northwest a little bit. You got Mountain West, then you got the Sun Belt. And so to me, this map shows you really like where all the price pain is in the U.S. If you're a buyer, look at this map and go, am I buying a home in these areas? That may be a top line indicator. Yes. Okay. Well, you could be actually able to score a better deal than if you were in the Ohio, like me, or Illinois, in the Great Plains or up in the Northeast. So, I mean, there's a couple little spots up here in the Northeast, but not much. I mean, you're talking flat, down Salisbury, Maryland, down 0.2, not a whole lot. So anyway, that's where home prices are falling. But let's go back to this. Let's talk about new construction for a second. So new construction is one of the ways you can really find out what will happen to home prices, because a lot of new construction gives existing homes competition. In fact, I heard Real Estate Mindset say, and I heard I heard someone else say this on YouTube recently, that prices overall now are starting to get to levels. New home construction is coming down to the point that it's competing with existing homes. So check this out. And to that point, watch this. This is, oops, that was Fred economic data. There we go. I want this one. All right. New sale price for homes sold in the U.S. And so look at what happened. This is from Fred, and you can see it peaked at $460,000 for a new home in the U.S. October 2022. And look what's happened since then. Look where we are now. Come on, Jay. 401. So it's gone from $460,000 for a new house to $401,000 for the median price. That's a big drop. What's that, like 9%? Around there? Is that right? Maybe a little less than that. But it's dropped $60,000. So new home prices, I mean, the fact that it's 401 now, it's starting to get close, because remember, look at this. Look at the median home price in America right now, according to Redfin, $398,700. What's the new price for a home? 401. So we're close. Like, Redfin uses mostly, I think, existing homes for their analysis, or what's on the MLS, right? Mostly. So new home prices are coming down quite a bit. Definitely. So is that the bubble and the crash people wanted? I don't know. 460 to 401 is a big drop. Anyway, that's one of the things I'm seeing is new home prices coming down. And check this out. This is interesting. So this is again from Resi Club. This shows us the 10 housing markets with the largest single-family home building presence. So where are home builders building or have permits to build new homes the most? Look at this is like really exactly tells you what's happening with the national housing market anyway, and even can help you in your local housing market. I mean, these are the markets where they're going to permit the most. Among the 240 metro areas we examined, these 10 metros had the highest level of single-family permits authorized in 2024 per 1,000 residents. So if there were authorized permits in 2024, one would think they would actually be built and come to market in 2025. So conceivably, these are the areas where you can go, all right, it's time to, I could go here and maybe get a deal because there's a lot of inventory. And it's where existing homes may have the most pain. They're all in the Sun Belt mostly, right? Myrtle Beach, Florida, North Carolina, Florida. Delaware's not in the Sun Belt. Daphne, Alabama, Cape Coral. We just looked at Cape Coral. They've got prices are down of like 10% there, right? Nearly 10%. There's a mountain state, St. George, Utah's on the list. There's Lake Havasu on the list. They have price decline. So all these markets, in a way, you could argue, don't really need the inventory. So if I'm looking for a house and I'm in one of these markets, that's good news. That's really good news. On the flip side, though, because you got to look at every side of the equation, these are where the fewest number of permits are going in. And look at where they are. I mean, Northeast, Alaska, okay, Reading, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Illinois, West Virginia, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and San Francisco. Maybe a lot of these markets are really hard to build in. I mean, there's not a lot of room in San Francisco, and there's not in Connecticut, and I'm not sure there's a huge demand for new houses in Charleston, West Virginia, or Peoria, Illinois. Been there many times, but I mean, they definitely need inventory in a lot of these markets. But home builders are like, nah, we're not permitting. So check this out. This is, I got a lot of things to show you guys today. Kind of a potpourri event. But look at this, single family permits authorized per 1,000 residents. So they say, all right, so if, like, for instance, in Columbus, single family home permits in 2024 per 1,000 residents, 2.7. So only 2.7 new homes permitted for every 1,000 residents. And you can see brown is bad, green is good with inventory. But look, just take an overview of the map and look at where all the inventory is. Where is it going to be built? The Sun Belt and the mountain states and some in the West. Where is it not going to be built for the most part? Northeast, Midwest. Although I will say this is one that always baffles me a little, is Indianapolis always seems to be building more homes, a lot more homes than Columbus. It's double the number of homes built in Columbus. And the other areas in Ohio are not much better. Cleveland, 1.4. Who cares at that point? Cincinnati, 1.7. So if you're a local in Ohio or any of these markets, you may think, hey, like in the Midwest, home building, is exploding. I'm seeing new homes, fly up everywhere. But in reality, builders are throttling back overall, and they're definitely throttling back or just not permitting in many Northeast, Midwest markets. And what that means is you're just not going to see the new build supply that you would in the Sun Belt. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I did have something here to share with you regarding new home construction. But let's look at this next. So this is the Fred chart on how many homes are for sale in the U.S. New homes, single family homes for sale right now. How many are for sale? We've got, and this is thousands, and this is seasonally adjusted, but 511,000 single family homes right now. I heard Nick at Reventure Consulting mention in a video recently that this is the highest level since 2008. I think it's 2007 actually, but who's counting? Because if you look here, we've got 511,000 new single family homes for sale on the market in June, right? Approximately. This is June's data. If I go back to try to find that 500 number, I got to get to November 2007. So what that means is that right now, throughout the U.S., there are more homes for sale, more new homes for sale than any other time since 2007, the end of 2007. Does that surprise you? Because a lot of people are like, man, new homes are going to lead the housing market crash. But let me show you this data before we get excited. This is how many permits are out there. I'm sorry, starts, my bad. How many U.S. housing new home starts are out there? And so if we go back to 2006 is when we peaked, 1,800,000 new homes were started. Single family units were started in 2006, I guess, February 2006. And look at what's happened. We recently peaked back in December of 2020. We had 1,273,000 new homes started construction. You got to have a permit, then you got to have a start, obviously. Then you have a house eventually. But look what's happened since then. Look where it is now. 883,000, under a million. That number's falling. I mean, the trend line is clearly falling. Look, here's where we peaked recently, and now it's falling down. So what does that mean? It means fewer new homes are actually being started than they were last year and certainly off the recent peak in December of 2020. What happened in June of 2020? Let's look. June of 2020, we had 904,000. How many did we have last year? Let me just look. Wow. 871 and 883. So people, they're just not starting homes like they were in 2020. They're just not. And they're definitely not starting homes like they were during like the worst time to start a home, right, in 2006. Oftentimes the starts will rise in the winter because they want to start the home. So it's finished, during the summertime to actually sell it. And oftentimes they're started in the Sunbelt areas where weather isn't that much of a factor. Again, if you look at this map, of where the permits are going in, they're in the Sunbelt, Southwest, Arizona, Nevada. These are all warm states for the most part, or warmer than the Northeast or Midwest. So you can start the house really anytime you want. I thought that was telling. So yeah, going back to this chart, just fewer homes actually being started. What does that really mean? Well, it means that, before we talk about that, let's look at this thing from Uneducated Economist. So there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Simon. Uneducated Economist. This cat right here. This dude, you guys got to check out his channel. I put the link for his video in the description below. But he talks about, he's in the lumber business. He lives in the Pacific Northwest, and he has his finger on the pulse of the lumber yards because he sells lumber. So he knows like what mills are shutting down, what prices are doing. And there's a few things that stood out from his latest video that I wanted to share. Number one, lumber production has been cut back hard. Sawmills have scaled down operations because demand for lumber is weak. Mills aren't making excess lumber to build inventory. They're producing just enough to meet slow orders. That's a sign that construction activity, especially in new home building, is not picking up. In fact, he mentioned in his video that there was a mill that caught on fire and a mill that shut production down for 2 weeks to do a turnover. And the comment from him was that they didn't notice a supply change at all. There's such a demand shortage of lumber, not supply shortage, demand shortage of lumber. Nobody's buying lumber, and so when a mill catches on fire or shut down for 2 weeks, Simon in the lumber business is like, we didn't notice any supply problems. Versus when supply was low, people were buying, demand was high with like during COVID and stuff, when the new home starts went nuts, like we just saw on the chart. So they would have noticed that hiccup in the supply chain because they needed every bit of the supply to meet the demand in the market. Now they don't need that because the demand's not there. He also mentioned this. This is a big one for you tariff people out here. Lumber prices are flat, and that's not good. Prices should normally rise if supply is cut, but they're not, meaning demand is equally soft. A flat price in the face of reduced output is a warning sign that the housing market's appetite for new building materials is low. So I thought it was interesting that he said, look, tariffs have not affected, these Trump tariffs have not affected lumber prices that he can see at all. And he touches them every day because that's what he does for a living. And at the same time, no one's buying lumber. So if no one's buying lumber today, and we already know based on this chart here that builders are not building, not starting new construction projects for single family homes, What happens to the supply? What happens to this chart of the number of homes available, new homes available in 3 years from now, 2 years from now? What happens? It's probably going to be gone, right? So like you have to be careful when you think about new homes and going, this is just like 2008, 2007, because it's not at all. We're going to see a ton of homes be built and the builders are going to go bankrupt. Maybe some will. I'm not saying they won't. But a lot of these builders right now are like, you know what? We're just going to cut back construction. And you can't say it's not happening. You can't say that there's shadow inventory being built. You have to buy lumber to build a house. To me, that's like the best indicator of new home building. Anyway, I thought this was a pretty cool little story from Simon. Again, this is Simon's YouTube channel. Check him out. I don't know him personally. I just watch him on YouTube, and he's got some ways to look at the housing market that few will really ever do. People just don't look at it like he does. It just fascinates me. And he's just a normal dude in a truck. Like he's not a realtor. He's not an investor. He's just a normal dude who sells lumber and does YouTube. But he's been on like the Rebel Capitalist, and he's been on One Rental at a Time a lot. I'd love to see this guy debate like Logan at Housing Wire and Melody Wright. I think that'd be a great show. Maybe I can get them all in a room together. All right, let's finish out the Redfin article finally, and then I'll take some comments. Then I'll get to the individual markets finally. But again, I had a lot of data to share with you guys today. I hope that helped kind of set the table of what's happening in the housing market. All right, we talked about all this, new listings, yada, yada, yada. We looked at median sale price. Then we talked about the Zillow median sale prices, where they're dropping. Here's pending sales. Where's demand the highest or increasing the highest? Look at some of these areas. Phoenix, 13% increase in pending sales. Austin, 11% increase in pending sales. Virginia Beach, Warren, Michigan, and Milwaukee. Where did pending sales drop the most? Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Portland, and Las Vegas. New listings, where did they rise the most? Seattle, Philly, Montgomery County, Cleveland, Minneapolis. That's where new listings went up the most. That's good. All of these areas need more new listings, no doubt. Where did they drop the most? This is crazy. Crazy. Tampa, Portland, Jacksonville, Sacramento, Orlando. All of these markets, or a lot of these, have been the markets where price pain has been the biggest. But new listings are down, meaning fewer sellers are putting their homes on the market. It's like a seller's revolt there. Many say it's a buyer's revolt, but like if you don't put a home on the market, it can't be sold. And a lot of people don't like that. Like they don't like the fact, I get a lot of comments on my channel. Plus I know when I put a video out that's about new listings dropping or supply dropping, like listings vanishing, something like that, y'all don't click on it. Y'all don't watch it because I don't think a lot of people want to believe, admit, and they don't like the fact that new listings are falling. They just don't like it. But that's the reality. So you got to deal with reality, not unless you really don't want to buy a home or you don't care. Well, then it's just theater, which is fine. But if you really care, you got to care about new listings. Yeah, like look, here's new listings down here. Do they put them down here? Yeah, new listings of homes for sale. Look, it's right here. It's flat, basically 0.6% up year over year, but it fell week to week. The number fell. In fact, let's just go ahead and go to the data. Data center. This is their data center in Redfin. You can come here anytime you want. They update this every Wednesday. Sometimes they forget and I have to email them and nudge them. Hey, update that data. Oh, okay. Yeah, look at new listings last week. 91,512 came to market. Look at new listings this week. 90,699. Fewer new listings. And then look at the active listings, for goodness sakes. Look at this. Somebody said this is seasonal. Somebody on my channel, I did this video walking around my hometown and talked about, what's changing in the market. One of them is active listings are falling. And somebody said, well, they're falling, but that's seasonality. But look at this chart. Does that look like seasonality to you? Like last year, it kept going up. Look at 2022. It went up a lot. Then it finally started to come down in the winter. And then in 2023, it steadily went up until the depths of the winter, right? Until, November, late November. But now new listings are falling. Like it was 1,192,000, then 1,187, then 1,175, 1,162, and 1,146. So we're losing active listings. We're not gaining that. Anyway, that is not a good sign at all. And I just wish more people would talk about it so they were realistic with y'all rather than telling you that like buyers are in complete control and prices are going to crash and you're going to get the deal of your dreams. It's like, well, there are pockets like that, but hang on. Like to say that is a little ridiculous. Just like saying home prices are going to go up forever. That's ridiculous to say. All right, let's go to some of these metros. I had a request already for, and I can do a metro or a county. I already had a request for Columbus. So let me do Columbus. New listings in Columbus, Ohio, 707, up 4.2%. So this is where new listings are actually kind of bucking the trend. Active listings. Look, more and more active listings in Columbus. Last week, we had 7,342. This week, 7,334. So we gained, we lost. We actually did lose a few listings here in Columbus. Just a few. Median sale price, what's that doing in Columbus? It's actually starting to head down, unbelievably, but it's still insanely high. $361,000 for Columbus, Ohio. It's just ridiculous. All-time high was $364 a few weeks ago. Homes sold. Look at homes sold, up 7%. Kind of gone sideways for the last few weeks, but we do have more people right now buying homes in Columbus than we did last year. So that's Columbus. All right, let's see if anybody else has one. You can put them in the comments below. I'm just going to take a little look at their comments here real quick, and then we'll look at the markets you want to look at. Florida. Okay, I'll do Florida. Any particular area of Florida? Richie Dog. As someone fortunate enough to make $350,000 a year and with hundreds of thousands in the bank, I can buy a house while the average person making $100,000 or less can't. That's true. I'm sure you can buy a home. Isn't it crazy? Like back in the day when I was like, I don't know, other Gen Xers are like this, but I remember when I was growing up, I thought if I made $100,000, I'd be like, man, if I make $100,000, life's going to be great. To your point, Tech Ninja, like 350 was a good, I mean, that's good income, but like, it's not like windfall type money. At least it doesn't, not as from what I can see in the economy, but it's a lot more than median income. That's for sure. So good job on that. McConaughey, out west, another year behind the Southeast. Out west, another year behind the Southeast. Yeah, it could be, right? You're talking about falling prices. Maybe it's all about that supply. Got to be about the supply, right? More homes on the market, lower prices. Let's see. Here in Nevada, stuff in McDonald's Highlands, where the starting home is over $2 million, things are selling fast. Yeah, I don't doubt it. There are pockets where things are selling fast, and there are pockets where things are sitting. Here in my little town of Granville, median home price is this month it was $615, or last month it was $615. Month before that was $717. The median home price. Median home price in Ohio is like $260. So this market is super expensive. Homes, if they're priced right here, will fly off the shelf. Even $1 million homes. Gulf Florida, and the insurance rates went way up. Okay, I'll look at Gulf Florida. In areas with houses, 500,000, they sit on the market for months. Yeah, they got to have something special about them, right? You can't just price your home the same as everybody else. It has to be priced at a compelling level. That's what I tell a lot of clients. Price it in a compelling way. You can be competitive where you're kind of right there with everybody else, but make it compelling where people look at the listing and go, what's with that house? Like, I see that one. I see that one. What's with this one right here? Why is that price a little lower? I'm going to go check it out. That you have to tickle their buying bone. You can't just throw it on the market. Realtors had it easy last few years. We had it easy since 2021, 2020. People just throw it on the market. It sells. You could throw it on the market at a ridiculous price and it would sell. People and buyers would ask for repairs. They would ask for other things, and we would just, and the client would, they're the one making the decision, but they would say, tell them, no, we're not going to lower the price and we're not going to fix anything. And I'd tell them that, and they'd still proceed with the deal and close over asking. But that's not a real market. That's fake. Now we're starting to see that. Beautiful estate targeted for development or park, land grab, harassment, need peace. I don't know what that means. I'm in Clearwater. Oh, tell me what's going on in Clearwater. I'm in Clearwater, make 6 figures, currently renting. I won't pay these prices, hoping they come down. They are down now, but not enough. I'll gladly rent and let others pay these high prices. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that. Let me look at Clearwater. McConaughey, what's up? Definitely not the case in Northern Nevada. Oh, okay. You guys are talking about prices there. Let me look. New construction's garbage. The stuff in the Toll Brothers and Lennar are ugly, cheaply made in the middle of nowhere with no mature landscaping. That's one of the things that stood out to me when I go to these new home sites. And I used to be in new home construction, not selling at all, but in the actual like building part, and in construction part, like they're in the middle of these just dust bowls. There's no mature trees around. There's no sense of like neighborhood really. Makes it very odd, I guess. Like, and I understand what you're saying. They are putting them up quick. 13% drop in what, Michael? I don't know what you're talking about. Michael says 13% drop. Tell us what you mean, or tell me what you mean. Vegas is losing its shine. I see that. You're under contract to buy another home. Is it an investment property? Good for you. Let me see. What's up, Juan? What's the seller's mentality for those who list the for sale during the winter months, knowing people don't want to move during that time? What's the seller's mentality for those who list homes for sale during the winter months, knowing people don't want to move during that time? A lot of times they list because they have to during the winter. Or it could be somebody who does a flip and the flip just went too long, or they bought the house in the summer and the flip went into the winter and they have to sell in the winter and they don't want to hold it that long. So a lot of times it's people that have to sell. One of the best times to buy real estate is between Christmas and New Year's. That's one of the, even if you go before that into Thanksgiving. But I would pick, at least in Ohio, I'd pick the coldest week, the coldest days to go look at homes and make offers. The coldest, worst days where we got horrible snow, sub-zero temperatures. That's when you go find a home. And by the way, that's when a lot of people take time off. I would go look at a home on Christmas if I had to. I've had people drag me out on Christmas before. Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, Easter. Doesn't matter. Thanksgiving Day does not matter for a realtor. They'll work anytime. At least they should. And so deals, it's great to find a deal in the winter. It's great. A lot of people are lazy. They won't leave the home in the winter, or they think it's too cold or whatever. Nobody's buying right now. Go out and grab something, man. Oh, barn dominium kit or prefab, Dana B says. Yeah, sure. A lot of people like barn dominiums. Tech Ninja says, wintertime is peak for sales in Miami, where I have a condo for my wife. A condo, my wife won't let me sell. Another reason I can't find anything I can afford. Obviously, I'm sure you know this, Tech. You're going to use a 1031, I'm sure, if it's, and roll it into something else, right? unless you don't care about the capital gain tax on a second home. I don't know if you do, and you got your own tax strategy, but like I have a lot of clients, Tech Ninja, that have condos and homes in Florida, and they've sold them over the past few years, and they got decimated on capital gain, even after I told them specifically, hey, if you're going to sell that house in Florida, think about a 1031. You have a renter in there now. You haven't lived in it for years. Like if you just sell it and don't roll that money, that gain into something else, you're going to get hammered because it's a second home. There's no relief there. Unless you got a bunch of expenses to offset it and doing other things, right, in your business. All right. KZ says, I can't pronounce that. Washtenaw County, Michigan. Yes, I'll look at it. Sorry. Springboro, Ohio from Chuck. Poof. I don't know. That may be a small market, but I'll do my best. Oh, here's a good one. Michael Wayman. What's up, Michael? We're losing active listings because people don't want to admit their house is worth less than it was in 2022. They will come around. They may, or they may just not sell, right? And you also got to remember, Michael, people who are selling are probably buying too, right? 85%. And so if a lot of people right now can't find a good deal, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers can't either. They're like, why would I pay more for a home with a much higher interest rate? I'm just going to stay put. But once they need to sell, once they're like, I got to sell my home or I am going to go bankrupt, that's when you'll see the real deals hit the market. And we're just not seeing that. Vegas, please. Yes, Michael, I'll do Vegas. No problem. You and Tech Ninja, huh? I agree. 2018 and prior, 100. I agree from Pocket Watchdog. 2018 and prior, 100K and lower was a flex income. Now it's, so what? 200K is the flex in anything outside of the usual LA, DC, Hawaii, NYC, and Seattle type areas. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like it's, I mean, yeah, I figured if I made 100 grand back when I was, graduating high school, I was like, man, life will be good. I tell my son now, I'm like, dude, you're going to have to if you want just a normal job out there and you want to get ahead, that ain't going to work. That's not going to work. You're going to have to trade stocks. You're going to have to own real estate. You're going to have to own assets. And you're going to have a side hustle if you have a normal job. You're going to have to. Because they just don't cut it. Chattanooga, Tennessee, Kyle Rooney. Yes, I will get to that one. All right, let me get to some of these. Let me do Chattanooga, Tennessee, since I'm just here already. Chattanooga, Tennessee. What do we got? Am I spelling that right? It's not on my list for some reason. I wonder why. Let me look the county. So I can look at the county instead. County. Sorry for the delay. Hamilton County, Tennessee. I'll have to look at the county. Is that okay, Kyle? Because I think the area is too small. Let me look at this. Hamilton County. Hamilton County, Tennessee. Let's look at new listings in Hamilton County. What do we got? Yeah, look at this. New listings down 2.9%. So you have fewer homes for sale than you had last year. I'm sorry, fewer homes hitting the market. My bad. Fewer homes hitting the market than last year. 149 hit the market. How many sold? Down 10% in the homes sold. So you had 134 units sell. You had how many new listings hit the market? 149. So you gained 15, is that right? 16 homes? 15 homes? And look at active listings in Hamilton County, Tennessee. This is very similar to that national trend, right, Rooney? Rooney. Kyle. I called your last name. Right, Kyle? you can see that active inventory's fallen big time. Like you're only up 8%. You're going straight down now. So even though, and this is the crazy part, to somebody's point earlier, people are taking homes off the market. Homes sold is down, right? New listings, though, is also struggling. And they don't have delisted homes on here. I wish they did. But it's like people in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Hamilton County, Tennessee are like, no thanks. I'm not going to list my home. And buyers are like, nah, I'm not going to buy either. Just fewer homes on the market, it looks like, than the last few weeks, few months. You had 2,123 homes for sale back in late May. And now you've got 1,985. So you've lost, I don't know, a couple hundred homes on the market. Not a ton, but it's not trending upwards. And that's not good if you want lower prices. However, you had more inventory prior to that. And so let's see what happens to prices. Look at home price. $400,000 up 13% year over year. Yikes. Does that surprise you? Does that match what you're seeing, Kyle, in the market in Chattanooga? I mean, that's you can see it's trended up all year though too. Like you started this year at 375, now 400,000. So does it not look like Chattanooga and the county of Hamilton is crashing? Definitely in prices. It doesn't seem like it may crash or come down much because your active inventory is really not that impressive. You only have 8% more homes for sale than you did last year. I mean, it's only like 100 more homes, 150 more homes. That's all you have. It's getting dark because of the storm has rolled in, but it's a lot cooler at least. It's not blistering hot. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing. I'm wondering what the new listing price is. How much are people listing homes for sale? $415,000 up 13%. So people are listing their home for more and they're getting it. It looks like. I mean, the median sale price is $400,000. Well, that's Chattanooga. I hope that helped. All right, let me look back at some of these other ones you wanted. Butler County, Ohio. Butler County. Now, Dana, do you know this? You may know it. And if you do, that's fine. I'm happy to help you today, but I do have a Ohio-only channel called the Ohio Housing Nerd. And I'll probably do a Redfin live update similar to this for just Ohio. I'll probably do that in maybe tomorrow or over the weekend. New listings in Butler County, Ohio for Dana. Got 106 new listings hit the market in the last 4 weeks. That is up 14% year over year. So not too bad. At least you have more new listings. That's good. You need that. Active listings. What's up with that? Yeah, look at this active listing count. 970. You're up 8%. That continues to go up. Good news there. At least you have more homes on the market. Now let's do solds. Homes sold. What we got? Yeah, down 10% in Butler County, Ohio, for the number of homes sold. And it's dropped quickly. But probably need to wait a few more weeks to see an actual trend. But maybe you have less competition out there buying a home. I'm not sure. You have to tell us what you're seeing. Except you did say crazy high market. Yeah, Ohio is ridiculous. It's like not really normal as far as pricing goes. Yeah, look at the median sale price. Goodness gracious. $332,000 $100,000 in Butler County, Ohio. That's up 12% year over year. And this hasn't stopped. Like, you started the year at 269, now 332. Now, it always goes up and down, right? It'll go up during the warm months and then down during the winter. Although last year it didn't come down a ton. Like last year you peaked at 310 and you ended at 295. Maybe it's because there's just not a lot of homes for sale. A lot of Ohio is like this, Dana. I wish it was better, but it's not. It's really not. 332. And property taxes here are no joke. No joke in Ohio. So you get hammered with property taxes as well. Ohio's kind of like becoming not really attractive with affordability anymore. It used to be where you could buy a home easily under 200 grand and you could buy it for less than renting. But now, it's not really like that. As Dana, I'm sure, knows. But I hope that helped, Dana. All right, what do I got next? I got Florida, Richie Dog, Florida. You told me where in Florida, though, right? Didn't you? You said Gulf, Florida. Gulf, Florida, Richie Dog. All right, I got you. Gulf, Florida. Let's look. Let me look here. Gulf. All right, you want me to do Gulf County, Florida? Is that what you want me to do? I think there's a Gulf County, Florida, right? Yeah, Gulf County, Florida. Oh, man. Prices are crazy here. What the heck? Let's see. Yeah, only 13 listings. I got to do a different one. Let me look. That's not going to help us. It's too small of an area. How about we do Monroe County? What do you think? Tell me. Tell me, Richie. I'll do Monroe County. That's on the Gulf, right? It's a big one, I think. Right? There we go. All right, Monroe County, new listings. If you have a different county, Richie, just drop it in there. New listings down 6.3% in Monroe County, Florida. So fewer homes hitting the market. That shocks me in Florida. I thought Florida would be like, hey, there's inventory everywhere. And look at this. Year over year, look at that. Active listings in Monroe County, Florida, only up 2.68%. You barely have more inventory than you did last year. What about homes sold? Anybody buying homes in Florida right now? Homes sold up 9% in Monroe County, Florida. Okay. So more people buying homes than last year. Fewer people listing their home. What do we got? Median sale price. Look at median sale price. Up 6% to $1,067,000. Goodness gracious. That's an expensive market. Let's look at, how about Collier County? Is that a better one to look at? Collier County, Florida. What do we got there? Yeah. I mean, what? What in the what? Down 11% in new listings in Collier County, Florida. Homes sold. What do we got? Up 14%. Double check that. Yeah. So fewer people putting their home on the market, more people buying. Okay. Active listings in Collier County up 10%, but headed down, not headed up anymore. This doesn't look like seasonality. It looks like people maybe pulling their home off the market. Maybe they're buying them because sales are up. I don't know. That's strange. I would expect that this place to have a lot more pain. Look at median sale price, though. Down 3% to $592,000. So there, your prices are down. And they've come down a lot this year. They were at 710 at one point, all the way down to 592. But let me know if this is the right area. You want me to look at something else? I don't know if he's on anymore. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that helped, Richie Dog. What do I got next? You got Clearwater, Matt. Isn't that the same market? Oh, that's Pinnelas County. Let me do that one. I got to look these up because I don't know them all off the top of my head. Pinnelas County, huh? Let's look at that one. Is it what? Oh, it's Pinnelas. Huh. There we go. Pinnelas County. Did I say it right? Pinnelas? Pinnelas? I don't know how you say it. New listings. Man, this rain's crazy. New listings down 16%. That's Clearwater, right? Surprising info. So we just looked at where all the pain is in the housing market with the prices, right? This right here. This is where all the pain is in the housing market. And look at all the Florida metros on here. Right? A lot of Florida metros down year over year price-wise, according to Zillow data. But when we look at Redfin, a lot of these markets, new listings are down. Let's look at active. That's down 16%. Let's look at active listings. Yeah, active listings now are headed down. You still have 10% more, but it's not like 100% more. Last year, you had 7,458 homes for sale. Now you got 8,218 homes. So you do have another 700 homes than last year. So it's not like it's not an increase. I just thought there would be more of an increase. Let's look at homes sold. Did I look at that already? No. Homes sold down 3.4%. Now let's look at median sale price. What do we got here? Ooh, that's down a lot. Look at that. Down 4%. Maybe it's not a lot for a lot of people, but so you started at 416, now 387. I'm not surprised to see lower home prices in Florida. All right, what else we got? Oh. Got Michigan. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that county. So let's just go to Did I spell that right? Oh, there it is. We're at the end. Washtenaw. Is that correct? Washtenaw, I'm going to call it that. Michigan. Up 12% in new listings. So you got more new listings. Where is that, by the way? I'm just curious. Oh, Ann Arbor. Didn't know that. Now I do. So it's west of Detroit. and where Ann Arbor is. Yeah, new listings, though, up 12%. Good. You need that, I'm sure. Homes sold. Flat. About the same amount of people buying homes as last year, but you have more new listings. One would think your active listings are going to be better. Yeah, up 17%. You have 949 homes on the market in that county. Let's look at median sale price. Median sale price down 3%, 431 grand. Wow. Ann Arbor's expensive. I wonder if Columbus, like, I don't know if the folks in Columbus know that Ann Arbor home prices are more expensive than Columbus. But it shocks me that it's that expensive there. Goodness gracious. You started at 383. Oh, come on, Redfin. Sometimes it resets. You started at 383, now 431. And it's gone up this year, but because it's so up and down, you're going to catch these troughs where it's more than last year. But the trend is that it's still going up. I mean, that crash map we looked at with Resi Club Analytics at the beginning of the video, you can see the pain is in the South, you know, the Southeast, the mountain states, the Texas, the Gulf, somewhat out west. But the middle part of the country in the Northeast, it's still like higher for longer. All right, I got Vegas. Let's do Vegas. That'll be a good one to do. Let's find out what's happening in Vegas. I'll do the Metro of Vegas. How about that? Tech Ninja sounds like he lives out there. New listings in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is crazy. Down 7.8%. Fewer people than last year listing their home in Vegas, and it's been dropping. It hasn't been going up. It's like different than people were like, oh, it's seasonality. This don't look like seasonality. I mean, this is cutting right through the last couple years. You're not even close in Vegas to the number of homes you were listing back in 2022 at 1,300 homes, call it 1,400. Now, 761 homes. Wow. You had like nearly double the homes you were listing nearly double the homes that you are right now back in 2022. That line, by the way, folks, this is what you want to see to get a lower price. You want to see listings explode. Is this line exploding? No, it's not. I know it's not what you may want to hear, or you don't want to believe it. You don't like it. Honestly, I don't care if you do or don't. I'm just giving you the reality. I'm not Redfin. I didn't cook up these numbers. Active listings in Vegas. It's been going up all year until the last few weeks, or last couple months, I guess. But you've lost listings, like you were at 11,592, 11,585, 11,519, 11,392 now. So fewer homes on the market compared to the last few weeks. Or a couple months, I guess. What about sold? Is anybody buying homes in Vegas? No, barely. You're up like it's flat. 597 homes. How many new listings hit the market, though? Okay, we had 761 homes hit the market, new listings, and homes sold 597. You're at least you're building inventory somewhat on new listings. So homes must either be selling, but we know they're down. So people must be taking their homes off the market, just delisting them. And if they relist them, they're going to appear either in active listings or new listings, obviously. And that's a tactic people have used for a long time. Take my home off the market, relist it. A lot of people say, well, it's because the realtor, that's why my home's not selling. Unless the realtor is like purposefully doing things incorrectly against you, It's usually not the realtor. It's usually the price. And then sometimes that's a realtor's fault for pricing it too high or helping you price it too high. Median sale price, what's up with that? Down 1%. Yeah, about 1%. $442,000 in Vegas. You started at 436. Now you're 442. So you're barely up this year if you look at year to date. Okay, there's Vegas. All right. What we got? It's in small. Oh, we talked about that one. Oh, thank you, Michael. You're right. I mentioned new home prices went from 460 to 401. That's a 13% drop. Thank you for catching my math error. Yeah, you mentioned condos, Pocket Watchdog. Yeah, you're right. Condos are like, they make up a bulk, or not a bulk. They make up a good portion of the active inventory. You're right. Tennessee and Idaho went red hot during COVID remote days. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Pure Root, what's up? I'm back. Shelby County, Alabama. We're wanting to sell and buy in the same county. Shelby County, huh? All right. I think we looked at this a couple weeks ago, didn't we? But let's look at it now. Shelby County, Alabama. Let's look at new listings in Shelby County. You had 92 down 3.6%. So fewer homes hitting the market. Active listings up 4.92%. Not a lot. 1,284 active listings in the county. Last year, you had 1,224. Now you've got 1,284. So you got like 60 more homes than you had last year. Not very good. Not very good at all. A lot of competition or a lot of buyers. Let's find out. Homes sold. 9.2% up year over year. 77 homes sold. And how many were added? 92. So it's like you maybe gain like 20 homes. Then you add in delisted properties and probably a wash on active listings, right? Yeah, active listings. Did they actually go down? Yeah, they went down by 6 units. I basically, when you look at when you look at 8 weeks and you split it in 2 and do 4 weeks rolling average, 4 weeks rolling average, they came down. You lost a few units basically. But I'm curious, Pure Root, why are you selling and buying? Let us know. You don't have to tell us you don't want to, but I'm curious just for our knowledge. Like a lot of people are going, why in the world would people be buying or selling right now? Like, what are they doing, or what's the psychology there? Tell us, like, what's your reasoning for selling a home and buying a new one, or are you selling? You're in the same county, so you're not relocating. Maybe you are across county, but yeah, just let us know what your kind of reasoning is. I'm curious. This is active listings, median sale price. $359 in Shelby County. Up 3%. Prices haven't come down there much at all, if at all. 339 it started with, now 359. So I don't see a great deal of inventory gain, and I see prices still sticky. Buying demand is about flat, right? Approximately. I mean, it's kind of following last year. I'm also curious if you're buying and selling a condo, a single family house, just for our knowledge. And by the way, anybody who's listening to this, anybody who's on the live or the replay, well, first off, hit the thumbs up for me. But the other thing is, give us a story about what you're doing in the housing market. Tell us, hey, I'm doing this. I'm going to buy and sell a condo. I'm going to buy an investment property. I got to sell because I got to move for my job. I just want to, the more buyer and seller psychology we can understand, the better, I think. Okay, well, that's Shelby County. But thanks for suggesting that. El Paso, Texas. Joe, how you doing, Joe? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, let's do El Paso. That's a good one, huh? El Paso. El Paso, Texas. New listings. What do we got? 224 new listings, up 10%. But, I guess it is trending down recently in the number of new listings. And it's up and down each week. So, coming up here, you could be down year over year with new listings. But what I would really look at is the number and the trend. Is it going down or up? It kind of looks like it's trending down now, which as we get later in the year, you'll see that. Although in El Paso, and I'm sure it gets cold during the winter, but it's not like sub-zero, I don't think. So maybe there's still more activity even in the winter. Active listings. Yeah, those peaked in the last 4 years at 3,291, up 14%. Now you're up 11%, but you've lost some listings recently. Homes sold. Homes sold 10%. So are you down? Is that right? Up 10%. With homes sold. So more people buying, more people selling. Looks like homes sold, you had 180. New listings, you had 224. So one would think you'd be adding inventory, but again, there are people that take them off the market. There are canceled listings, expired listings. All that happens. Median sale price, $266. Flat in the price right now. You started at $273. Here's a market where it's come down a little bit, $266 now. So I'm curious, Joe, are you seeing lower home prices where you are, higher home prices, a lot of homes on the market? Are you hearing about people having to fire sale their homes? I'd just like to know. And so would, I think, other people, what you're seeing. But I hope that helped. It just seems like you do have more inventory there. There's probably new construction, I'm guessing. Prices have come down a little, but they haven't really come down over the last few years. Your peak was back in 2024 last year at 271. Now and then they ended at 269. Then you started at 273. Now 266. So it's come down a little. But look back in 2022. At the beginning of the year, 217. And around this time, a few years ago, at 239. So yeah, homes have definitely increased in value there. But it seems like it's still a relatively affordable place to live at 266. At least you're not like Ohio, where now it's like 350 easy as far as the median price in a lot of areas. So, but it does not look like you're seeing the type of problems that they're seeing in Houston with the supply, or Austin that you're seeing with the supply. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like it. Maybe not as much speculation. I don't know. But that was interesting. Thanks for suggesting El Paso. Logan County, Ohio. Music Mary. How you doing? Logan. Logan County, Ohio. What's up with Logan? New listings in Logan County. You had a whopping 16 listings hit the market. So, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into that. It's pretty much up and down every single month because you don't have a lot of new listings. So it's just going to look crazy. I mean, 16, can you really get lower than that? Probably not. I guess back in 2022, at one point, you had 24 in a 4-week period hit the market. Homes sold. What's that doing? You had 13 hit the market, down 3%. At one point, you had homes sold. You had 13 sold homes. Now, at one point, you had 20 in 2022. So again, there's just not a lot of data. There's not a lot of transactions, so it's hard to gauge it. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of buying and selling going on. Let me look at active listings. Those probably aren't going to tell us much, but let's find out. Whoa. You have a lot more right now. 213. I guess when you're adding only 15 new listings or whatever a week, or I'm sorry, every 4 weeks, and you've got 213 listings active right now, that's a good amount. It's up 40% right now. Now, there was a big trough last year at this time of year, but looks like a bunch of people put their homes on the market or they're just sitting on the market. What's median days on market, by the way? Yeah, up 16 days to 59 days. So the median time a home spends on the market in Logan County, 59 days. Up 16 days. That's a lot. Maybe it's a lot of like rural cabins and stuff. That's what I think when I think of Logan. But I could be wrong. Median sale price in Logan, $252, up 7% year over year. It has gone up this year, though. You started at 218, now 252. Goodness gracious. Goodness. The prices just are really sticky in Ohio. It looks like you just need more inventory of homes. Not a lot there for sale, only a couple hundred. But prices are up high. So if you're seeing higher prices, your instincts are correct and the prices are higher. But let us know if you're seeing deals or people cutting their price a lot. Just because people cut their price doesn't mean prices are going to come down. They could have the median asking price is definitely coming down nationwide. Let's look at what it is here. Still up 20%, 278. And what's the median sale price? 252. So maybe if this new listing median price comes down to reality, then maybe you see some lower sale prices eventually. Or maybe just more buyers because people are like, oh, now I can buy because the price is, the advertised price is lower. But a lot of these markets are just frozen up. Frozen, even in the summer. But thank you for just suggesting Logan County. Dana, thanks. I'll check out your Ohio channel. Appreciate Gen X perspective. Oh, you're welcome. St. John's, Florida. Ruan. Welcome. You gotta give me a zip code here. St. John's, Florida. Is that a city? Forgive me. Oh, St. John's County. It's also a county. And let me see where it is. I'm just always curious where these places are located. So it's right here. You're like, where is that? So like eastern Florida, right? South of Jacksonville, north of St. Augustine. That's what we're looking at right now. Okay. Let's do it. St. John. There you go. St. Johns County, Florida. New listings. What do we got? 158, down 22.9%. Man. That's like, it's shocking that even the housing nerd, I get confused. Like, because I think, man, Florida's doomed. But there's a lot of areas where new listings in Florida are down. Like sellers are like, nah, I'll wait till next year. Look at active listings. We're seeing a lot of Florida activity like this. Only up 5%. I mean, but to be fair, last year at this time, year over year, active listings were up 44%. So that was a huge jump from 2023, right? Because, I mean, if you look at the history of it, in 2022 at this time in St. Johns County, you had 2,454 homes for sale. Then the following year, you had 2,588. Then the following year, 3,736. Then the year after that, 3,907 now, right, in 2025. So you gained like 150 homes year over year, but that big gain was last year to 2023. That's when a bunch of stuff hit the market, it looks like. Let's go back to new listings and see if it tells us that. Yeah, look at 2022. Look at the surge in new listings in 2022. Then it fell off the map as well. But I'm guessing that surge in new listings constantly in the beginning of 2022. And usually that's because a lot of times because they raise interest rates, people freaked out and listed their home. But now, yeah, and you can see those active listings in 2022 go up. They must have stayed there for 23, and then more people started listing their homes to add to the inventory for 2024. But obviously purchases, homes sold haven't been impressive. Yeah, they're down. Look at that, 13% right now. I mean, that's not seasonality at all. That's way off. Nobody's buying a home there right now, or fewer people are than last year. 134. How many new listings did you have? Well, you only had 158 new listings, so you gained like 20 listings, I guess. But it looks like the damage was done already in the active. So I have to assume that days on market is high. Yeah, look at days on market. 82 days. 19 days year over year. So I am seeing this as there's it looks like active inventory in a market is not expanding that fast, but days on market is expanding because the homes that are on the market, many of them, if they're overpriced, too expensive, or need a lot of work, or in a bad area like on a train track, or next to a factory, or in a flood zone, those will just sit on the market a lot longer unless they're heavily discounted, and that causes the median days to go up. This is where you find a deal, folks. Like if you want to find a deal and you see median days on market go up like this, even if active listings and new listings are not skyrocketing, go into the listings, have your realtor, or you could do it even on Zillow if you wanted to, though it takes a lot more work on Zillow. Go in and look at any houses that have been listed, for instance, in this market, over 80 days. Because the median's 82. So go, all right, 80 days and over, that's when I'm going to look. I mean, if you're not in a hurry at all, one could say you could just set your search for 80 days or 90 days or more. Have your realtor send you only listings that have been active for 90 days or more. And they can actually set up a separate search for you that only gives you that, even if you want to see the other listings. So you could tell them, hey, give me a search for active inventory that hits the market that's brand new just for my, S&Gs. But also give me a list that's dedicated only to active listings after 90 days. I do that with multifamily. Here, small multifamily here in Ohio. My niche is 2, 3, and 4 unit buildings. That's what I like to buy. I don't like single family houses. Although, given the fact that they've gone up so much, I probably should have bought more of them, but I didn't. So my niche is a small duplex. I only look at properties if they've been on the market over 60 days. That's when they hit my feed. Otherwise, I don't even pay attention to them. And it gives you permission then to kind of step back and go, I'm just looking at where the deals maybe are. But that is one way to search in this market for an opportunity, even if you're not seeing new listings come in at prices you like. I recently heard somebody say that they made 80 offers, not 8, 80 offers as an investor before they found something that worked, and it was an amazing deal. But they made 80 offers. That's what it takes in some of these markets to get an opportunity. But they are out there, and you can get a deal at a price that would shock people, like way off of asking. Just got to find that right seller that needs to sell. Doesn't want to sell, but needs to. Anyway, that's what I would do with median days on market in St. Johns County, Florida. All right. What else we got? I did Ann Arbor. I did that one. I did that county up there. Oh, thanks for the 1031 tip. Yeah, man. Like, talk to an accountant, dude. Talk to an accountant, and you can sometimes find an accountant that specializes in real estate, which I would recommend. And then sometimes even like the guy that I use, the accountant, he's also a real estate attorney. So he's got a whole ball of wax, and understand what the rules are with that 1031, because it can be powerful. That's the loophole, folks, for like a lot of people get upset that the rich and powerful don't pay taxes. One of the ways they don't pay taxes is that they do a 1031. They don't have to pay capital gain on the investment property they sell, as long as they buy something similar in a certain period of time. There's all kinds of rules with it. But if you hit those rules and you sell a condo that's rented out right now at $200,000, and let's say you make $100,000, and you take that $100,000 in profit, instead of selling it, pocketing the 200 and then paying tax, capital gain tax on that sale, you can actually put it, you can roll that gain into another investment property, and that capital gain tax that you were going to incur is not wiped away. It's kicked down the road. It's deferred. And if you then sell the next property that you buy from selling the condo, if you buy a property, let's say at $500,000, like an apartment building or something. I don't know if you're going to do that in Florida, probably not, but in Ohio you could. So $500,000, and then you take that $100,000 profit and put it as a down payment, and now you've got a $500,000 property. If you sell that one in the future, you can roll those capital gains, those taxes, you can defer those down the road to the next sale, and you can do that for the rest of your life. And here's the kicker: when you pass away and you die, if you leave that strategically to your kids, those taxes that you would kick down the road are wiped out. They're just gone for your kids. And your kids start what they call it zero basis. And you don't have to worry about if your kid, hopefully they keep the property, but if they sell it, they're good to go. That's like the massive loophole in real estate investing that few people understand. So I'm glad I could help. Talk to an accountant. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax attorney. Cape Coral, Florida. Let's do Cape Coral, Florida. Willman 757. Yeah, man, that 1031 exchange is huge. I've only used it once because I don't like to sell property, but I had to sell I just got to a point of selling a duplex in the past because it required way too much work and the ROI was not there. So I was like, I'm going to dump this, and rolled it into something else. Because I would have probably got like hit with like 25,000 or so in tax from the gain, but I deferred it. So it's not like it's wiped out, but it's deferred. Anyway, new listings in Cape Coral. This will be really interesting to look at because, as we know, new Cape Coral is one of the markets that's down, one of the 110 markets out of the top 300 that are down 5.7% in new listings. That's really surprising. They started out strong. Look back earlier. 951 units had been added to the market at the peak in early January. But now that thing dropped a lot. Active listings. What's up with this? 15% up in active listings, 11,930. Last year, you had 10,375. The year before that, 7,000. That was the big jump, right? 7,000 to 10,000. You gained year over year from 2023 to 2024, you gained 3,000 listings, right? Yeah, that was the big jump. Well, this was a big jump too. Look at this. Back in 2022, and they don't have 21 on the graph, but they do show how much you were up at that point year over year. And active listings up 70%. So you probably had what? 2,000 listings at one point in 2021, then 5,000, then 7,000, then 10,000, then 12,000. So, don't misread what I'm saying on these graphs. The fact that we look at a micro level and see that they're falling right now doesn't mean you didn't have a lot of inventory or you don't have a lot of inventory. You obviously do. But it looks like the new listings are starting to wane, right? They're just starting to wane. Although, I mean, this time in 2022, you had 551 hit the market. Now you've got 441, so 100 fewer listings. But the point is, it's not growing. So maybe all the pain has already hit the market. I don't know. Or maybe the people that are selling have to sell. That is one good thing about today's marketplace. The people that are selling, a lot of them have to sell. Many times they have to sell if they leave it on the market for a while. But you're really going to see that in price cuts, right? And I guess the actual price. Yeah, there's active listings. Let's do median sale price. Median sale price. Wow, down 8%. Look at that. And from the peak in Cape Coral, goodness gracious, $421,000. That was the peak and you were up 29% at that point. And then the bottom fell out and it just went down. But this year it's gone down a lot. Like you started this year at 393, then down to 354. So tell us what you're seeing, Wilman, 757. Are you seeing a lot of homes on the market? What's going on? Hope that helped. All right. Give us a thumbs up if you've joined us. I just need a thumbs up, a comment. Even if you just put in the comments, comment, whatever. Cheap section. I don't know where that is. U.S. citizens moving to Puerto Rico. What's driving that move? I have no idea. No idea. Joe, hey, El Paso County, Texas. I'm looking at getting into a house out here, but haven't really found anything reasonable for the area. Yeah. Well, if I remember right, your inventory isn't fantastic. But if, again, there are just a couple other ways that I would look for a home, or there are a lot of other ways, but the two key ways beyond looking on the MLS or Zillow is get in your car, drive to the area that you want to buy in, whatever area that is, find houses that look like they've been neglected. So in Ohio, it's weeds, right? A lot of weeds growing around, like a lot of cars you see like a bunch of cars in the lawn with weeds growing around the cars, like people mow, but they don't have a weed whacker or they don't use weed killer. So that's just like there's weeds growing up around the tires and stuff. That's a good sign. A house with like Christmas decorations up still and it's July. No footprints in the snow. That's a good sign. Drive by on the weekends and in the evening, if there are no lights on, maybe vacant. If you can pull a list of code violations, pull a list of water shutoffs from your local city or county. Sometimes they will give you a list of the people that have code violations and water shutoff notices. That's a sign of distress. You could look at the back taxes. Some counties, depends on where you are, you can use the back taxes as a way to identify distress. But one of the ways I like to do it is just drive around, look at the properties that need work, write down the address, go back to your house and find the owner address the owner mailing address, because sometimes it's different, right? If it's a landlord, and then send them a letter. And the letter says, hey, my name is Jason. I noticed your house at 123 Main Street in El Paso, Texas. I'd like to talk to you about buying the house. If you're interested, give me a call or text me, and then just leave your number. You can also say something like, I'm local. I know the area. I live locally. People like that. And then just do enough of those and somebody's going to call you. Now, you're going to get calls from angry people that are like, why did you send me a letter? My house is not for sale, which is fine. And then just, cross them off your list. But if you build that list and send a letter every month and handwrite the letter as well, you can find an opportunity that nobody else would. And that's how I find a lot of my deals. So if I'm in if I happen to go to the area where I like to buy in with those duplexes and triplexes and whatnot, I will take 15 minutes and just drive the streets real quick to find anything that I haven't seen before. And you can use a software. I'll show you this. Maybe you guys don't want to see this, but too bad, because it's my channel. Oh, come on. Yeah. So I use this software. It's called PropStream. And this will tell you, like, here are all the properties I've saved in PropStream. This is a software you can get, and it comes on your phone. Like, there's an app, and obviously you have this desktop capability. But when you're driving, the app is awesome. Like, you can tag a house on the app, and it will give you all of the owner information, and then you can save it in the app and then download that list. And PropStream will tell you the mailing address of the owner, even in no disclosure states like Texas. The notion that you have to have the MLS to find a deal is completely false, because this is actually cheaper than the MLS. It's about $100 a month, but certainly cheaper than Reventure Consulting when they give you one zip code for $40, which is insane. But like this address here, 2301 Potts Lane in Zanesville, Ohio, right? It gives us all the information about the property. It gives us the mailing address of the owner. It tells us the name. It gives us comparables if we want them from public record, from MLS, or both. It tells us linked properties, how many properties this guy owns. He owns all these properties. Anyway, gives you a bunch of info, and you can use that to send them a letter and say, hey, do you want to sell your house? And if you're an owner occupant buying a house to live in, you have an advantage over all investors, because a lot of people don't want to sell to an investor. You can even put that in your letter. I'm not an investor. Oh, maybe you are, and I don't know if you are, but if you're not, and you put that, I'm not an investor, I bet you get a lot more calls than I do. Anyway, if I had to find a house to live in, that's exactly how I would do it. I would do that exact thing. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on how to find an off-market deal. Okay. Now we come back to this. Pure Root. I'm sorry, Pure Root. I'm sorry to hear about that. So getting divorced, so that's why you have to sell. So maybe it comes back to our narrative, which is probably correct, that a lot of people right now don't have to sell. And if they have to sell, they do. Single family home. That's what you're selling. Joe, what's up? Not much on the market, and prices for this area seem to creep up. I'm sure they do. Yeah, try that off-market stuff that I mentioned. Yeah, not terrible, but wage are commensurate to cost of living. Well, that's a good thing, I guess. I'm hoping it drops off a bit. So you can hope that way. A lot of people are. I'm not saying you shouldn't hope for lower prices, Joe, but like, if you want to find an opportunity, I would forget what you can't control and go do what you can control. What you can control is looking where others are not looking. The other thing I would look for is I would look at wholesalers. I don't know how Texas works with wholesalers, but if you Google real estate wholesalers And you're going to have to understand how that process works. So I would do a lot of research on it. It's all on YouTube, all on the internet, available for you to learn. But real estate wholesalers sell a lot of properties off market. That may be a way to get a deal as well. But I wish you luck, obviously. Okay, here we go. You wanted Springboro, Chuck. Yes, I'll do Springboro. I got you. That may be too small to do, so I may have to do the county. What county is that? Oops, Monroe County. County. Oh, it's Warren County. All right, let me get Warren County up here for you. Oh my goodness. New listings in Warren County, which is where Springboro is. 90 new listings, up 3.4%. Homes sold, 15% up, 72 homes sold. So you had more homes hit the market, like 20 or so, right? Active listings, look at that. A 4-year high right now, 806, 23, 26, 23% up. So 806. Last year, you had 654 homes for sale in Warren County. I know that's not just Springboro, but so another 175 homes approximately than you had last year for sale. All right, median sale price. Oops, let me go to homes sold. Did I do homes sold already? Yeah, I guess I did. So more people are buying new listings, a few more people listing homes. Let's look at median sale price. Look at this, 441. I mean, am I missing something? What is going on there? I guess it's south of Dayton, right? So you're between Dayton and Cincinnati, right? That's where you are. Right in this area here. I mean, the prices there are crazy, especially for Ohio. Like 441. Wow. That's up 5% year over year. You started at 349. You peaked this year at 458, 14% increase. Man. Completely the opposite of what we're seeing like in Florida, right? Where you're seeing and a lot of the Gulf. One of the reasons is there's just not a lot of new building. I know we do see new building happening in Ohio, but overall, we have not near the supply of new builds coming to market that we see in other areas of the U.S. Maybe because taxes are so high. And I mean, 441, the taxes on that, they could be $6,000-$7,000 a year. Depends on the school district. They could be 10 grand a year. That must be a great market to live in, though. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm always amazed by these Ohio prices. And I live here. And it's just crazy. But thank you for suggesting those. AJ Pazos. What's up, Mr. Housing Nerd? What kind of car you got there? What is that? Get the hood up. I can't tell what it is. My old man eyes. I'm going to guess it's an Infinity G37. That's my guess, just from the headlight. Am I wrong? I don't know if it is. I like cars. Annie Alexander. What's up, Annie? I'm under contract to buy a home that was only on the market for 3 hours. Remind us where you are again. Goodness. So you jumped on that big time. And you're in contract, so I don't want to talk about the deal necessarily because you never know who's listening. But I'm just curious what market you're in. And congratulations. I hope you close. Dr. Ed. How you doing, Mr. Dr. Ed? Florida is booming where I live. South Tampa properties are selling in days. Huh. Okay. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you for that info. Let's do Tampa real quick. I got a few more in me before I have to go. But I appreciate everybody watching and hanging out. I love talking about the housing market and, hanging out with you guys and learning. I'm learning a lot. New listings in Tampa down 15%. But you said South Tampa. This isn't South Tampa. This is just all of Tampa. Wow. Homes sold in Tampa down 1.7%. So you had 1,000 homes sell, and you had 1,253 new listings hit. What happened with active listings? Active listings are headed down. It's not seasonality, that's for sure. Up 6.73% in active homes for sale, 21,000. This time last year, you had 20,000. So you've got like 1,300 more homes for sale right now than you did last year, which to me seems like a lot in Ohio. That's a lot of homes, though, 21,000. But you say they're selling fast. I believe you. Median days on market. I mean, look at median days on market overall in Tampa. 46 days on market, up 11 days. I'm curious, Doctor, the homes that are selling fast, are those like priced right? Or are they priced like egregiously high? Are they move-in ready? And I'm really curious about the price point. What's the price point of those homes that are selling? Median sale price in Tampa, down 1%, 380 grand. Looks like last year you peaked at 395. Okay. So you started the year at 377. Now you're 380. So prices are kind of going sideways, I guess you call it, but they don't look like they're crashing, even though they're down 3%. At least they're not up 3%. But yeah, I am curious what you're seeing. You're saying, hey, homes are moving fast where you are. Just like to know what type of home it is. Cape Coral is a crappy area. Is it? I don't know. I'm curious to see what you say, Dr. Ed, about the homes that are selling. Expensive? Cheap? What's up with it? You know what? All right. I got a couple more here. Dallas, Texas, please. All right. Dallas, Texas. Dallas. You know, it's really sad. I don't know if this actually got approved or not, but I heard, and I haven't verified it, but it sounds like the Browns got their new stadium approved from the taxpayers. I think it's all of Ohio, or maybe it's just Cuyahoga County that's paying for it. I'm just saying that because Dallas has that amazing dome, right? And now Cleveland's going to have a dome. Can you believe that? A domed football stadium in Cleveland. I mean, if they ever put a dome in Pittsburgh, that's it. I'm done with the team. I'm done. You can't play football inside in Ohio. You got to play outside. What's going on? Anyway, new listings in Dallas. 1,863, up 0.5%. Now let's look at homes sold. 13% up. Wow. So a lot more. I mean, not a lot more, but people are buying more homes than this time last year in Dallas. And they're listing about the same. It's pretty much flat. I keep seeing this over and over. It's almost like we reached our crescendo of new listings and active inventory, and now it's kind of like this in a lot of markets. Like, all right, now we're going to kind of taper off. Active listings. Yeah, I'm seeing it here too. 28,000. Boy, that seems like a lot. I mean, last year you had 22,000. Year before that, you had 15,000. Yes, you went from 15,000 to 22,000 to 28,000. That's a big increase in inventory. That'll definitely change prices. You would think, right? Median sale price. What's that doing? Yeah. I mean, you are up 1% year over year. So this is the big part is 2022 when you were at 464. You hit a median price of 464 at one point because inventory shot up, median price shot up, and then probably a lot of stuff left on the market, and that median price fell down, down. So right now, though, prices, they've started at 417 this year, now 427. So year over year, you're actually up, but the trend isn't going down anymore. It's headed up on prices. What's median days on market? Median days on market. 13% increase. I'm sorry, 13 days, round up, call 14 days to 50 days. This is going up. There's a big gap here, and it's continuing to go. Probably because there's properties that are on the market people don't want, too expensive, overpriced, need too much work in areas people don't want to buy in. Maybe like gutted flips, right? You see that a lot. Investors pay too much money for a flip, and it's like half done, maybe half gutted or is gutted, and you have to, do the bathroom, the kitchen. Those can be good opportunities, by the way. Like the investor's in trouble, go make an offer. Make a disrespectful offer. Make something that makes them cringe. They get it. Ooh, boy, that's a low offer. That's when you know you're on the right track. This can be a good time to get a great deal. You just got to know how to go find it and hunt. Okay. That is Dallas. Rent, Bond B, what's up? Rent until the dust settles. Right, but everybody has their little tag words they use. I know Travis uses this a lot at Real Estate Mindset, the dust settles. Is there ever, let me ask you this, Vaughn, is there ever a time when there's not dust in the economy or the world or the US or the housing market? There's always dust. It's either, too much inventory and prices crashing, no inventory, prices going up, frozen market. There's always dust. So I don't know at what point the dust settles. I don't even know what that looks like. You got the bird flu, you got COVID, you got tariffs, you got a new election, you got midterms, you got people flying to islands on planes they shouldn't be flying to. Like, always got dust, at least in my opinion. Who's going to buy these boomer overpriced homes? Well, sometimes nobody until they're priced right. Dust equals overpriced homes. Okay. Well, I would go find something at the price you think is with no dust on it. So if you think homes are overpriced by 50%, go find a deal with a 50% price discount. It may take you a while, but go find it, because if you wait for prices to come down, I'm not saying you should buy a house right now, but if you want to buy a home, go find a deal today. Don't wait on the market to change, because you can't control that. You can control your actions, but you certainly can't control the market. And if what we've seen is any indication, there's a ton of y'all that are waiting for prices to come down, and only got 48 people on the live. So there's thousands of people, right? Like some of these lives I see from other dudes, there's 2,000 people on the live, and they're all like, I can't wait for prices to come down. So if they're all waiting on prices to come down, as those prices come down, people are going to buy the homes if the prices get low enough. So go find a deal now where a seller has to sell. Just go find it. It's out there. If you look every day, every week, in a disciplined way, wake up in the morning before you go to work, look at the market, look at your buy box, understand what average deals are in your area, and then average days on market. And when it hits past those average days, strike. And then follow up. Yeah, normal affordability. I get it. I don't know that we're ever going to return to normal affordability. I really don't know if we will. So go find a deal that makes it affordable today to you, whatever that is. If you're like, I'm not going to spend any more than $500 on, or I'm sorry, any more than $50,000 on a house. Well, go find a house for 50 grand. You may not get exactly the house you want, but it is possible to do that. And you have to follow up, right? Make an offer. And when pretend you make an offer at a house you really want, Nikki, Vaughn, whoever, because you guys are both talking about it. Yeah, pretend if you find a house that you're like, I really like that one, or I want to target a house that's $250,000. You make the offer one day, wait, if they say no, wait a couple weeks, call them again. Here's my other offer. And I know people that will send an offer and the next offer they send is lower. Like the first offer is $250, the second offer $248, the third offer $245. And it sends a signal to the seller that, these prices aren't getting higher, they're getting lower. And if they haven't sold it yet, obviously they may want to play ball. Not all the time. Sometimes you're just stubborn. Let's look at 1992, 2008, 2010. We heard the same talking heads like Lawrence Yun telling else buy now. I'm not saying buy now. I'm saying if you want an opportunity, you could find a discount at which others would marvel at. They'd be like, how'd you find that, Vaughn? Hey, Nikki, how'd you find that deal? Well, I did things differently. Those are out there. But I'm not saying run into the market and buy a home that's retail priced. And if it's something you can't afford, that's not a good idea. But to me, I don't wait on the market. If I did, I would have never bought any investment properties. I had tons of people telling me not to buy, to wait. Market's going to crash, Jason. Okay. Well, I went out and found deals under asking, worked my tail off to find them, and was able to get instant equity. And now they cash flow really well. Even if there was a downturn of 30, 40%, I'd be fine. Even if rents crashed by 25%, I would still cash flow. But I found them because I pounded the pavement. I didn't inherit the properties. I didn't just stumble on them. I had to go out and find them. And so if you do that, you could find a deal now without waiting on the market. You just don't know what's going to happen. But am I saying to buy a home, run out and buy a home now? Absolutely not. Unless it makes sense for you at that price. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. Final point. Whoops, let me see. Go look for homes that are empty and low ball away. Exactly. Good job, Nikki. My final point. Taxes and insurance are out of whack. That's why I'm rent until the dust settles. Sure. Yeah, I mean, taxes and insurance, I'm not sure. I don't know when those are going to come down anytime soon. That's not really much you can control there. You could also house hack. That's the other thing. Find a duplex. The dude in El Paso, what was his name? Joe? I think his name was Joe. You go find a duplex and rent out one side, live in the other. That's a great way to get into real estate. I wish I would have done that, but I didn't have the foresight to. This market is nothing like 2008. If you can afford it, buy it now. It's a home. Stop seeing it as an investment if you don't even have a primary residence. It's not a bad thought either. Like prices, if they came down, you bought, let's say they came down 10, 20%. Like there's only 2-3 markets in the whole US that are down 10% right now, year over year. So to market techs, is that how you say that? Market e-techs? I don't know. I'm saying that like a goofball. But anyway, your point's valid. Like if it depends on what you want the house for. If you're looking for it as an investment, go look like an investor. Go find the house like an investor. But I caution people against waiting on things to happen for them rather than just doing it. It in general. Because if you buy it correctly and you stay in it for 10 or 15 years and the market changes, well, then does it matter really? And if you buy it at the right price, it doesn't matter. And even if you bought, even if you waited for home prices to come down, and they did, and you found the burning bush where no one else sees that perfect house, only you, no investor picks it up, none of the people on this live pick it up, nobody competing picks it up, and you happen to snatch that house from the market, how do you know home prices aren't going to fall another 15%? If you can tell me that, then we should be great friends, because I would love to know, what's going to happen to my market. But when none of us know that, so it's it's always a gamble. Timing the bottom of the market's got to be really hard. And I feel sorry for people that do that, because I'm like, man, if I know they have the wherewithal, I know they have the smarts, because I'm not the most intelligent guy in the world. You can see how I do my math. But I do know that if I apply myself, I can go out and find a property today in spite of what's happening in the market. So that's how I act. I'm just I don't care. I'm going to go find something that makes sense. The market could go fly a kite. And that's exactly what the people in power don't want you to do. And the fraud, the greed, and corruption. Forget that. Don't give it any legs. Just be forget you. I'm going to go do what I have to do anyway. Come on, nerd. Every time in history when home prices have reached this level of unaffordability, it's always returned to the mean. Has it? Has it always returned to the mean every time? Well, home prices never been this high. They're at all-time highs, right? In many markets. But I just don't like waiting on the market to do things for me. I don't like waiting on the market to do things for me. I don't want to wait for a politician to do things for me. Nobody's coming to save me, the housing nerd in the housing market. I got to do it myself. I just got to go do it. As you can see, I never mentioned rates. A real estate broker told me 30 years ago, she told me more homes when rates were 15% in the 1980s. Sheer greed and complicity. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to rates either. I can't wait for that. That's why when I make offers on investment properties, I only usually lead with seller financing. The seller finances the property. Using a bank, that's for mortals. So again, I'm not waiting. And you can wait. You do anything you want to do. But I feel like waiting is what the people in power want you to do. They want to wait. I mean, they're like, you just wait. We're going to lower interest rates for you. You just wait. Homes are going to be more affordable. Okay. Well, how about I just figure it out on my own and not pay attention to you? It's a good thing. Hillbilly Hullabaloo. Ha! That's a cool name, man. I like it. What do we got? Okay. Yep, you two are on the same page. This is cool. How is this nothing like 2008? Well, adjustable rate mortgages, percentage of people underwater on their mortgages. Well, the supply is nothing like 2008. We had 4 million homes on the market in 2008. Now we've got 1.3, 1.1. Median income need to purchase a median home is 130. Let that sink in. Yeah, but people are buying homes. That's the point. While everybody complains about this median price and median income thing, people still buy homes, and the market just marches on, and people are still finding opportunities. So go find something that meets your middle income. Forget what other people are doing. Go find something. It's out there. Just got to look. Market text. 2008 was subprime mortgage crisis. This isn't what's happening. I agree. It's not. Now, it's the market has gone up straight up. So could it crash? Sure. But again, I choose not to wait. You guys got me all fired up. I love it. No, it was speculators that caused the bubble. Just like this time, blaming subprime borrowers is lazy. Doesn't really matter what the reason was, does it? Come on, guys. You just got to go find a deal, man. Take your life in your own hands. Don't wait on somebody else. Don't wait on the market to change for you. Forget that. But that's how I think anyway. You guys have been fantastic. I got to go. I think I'm going to pee my pants. So I got to go. But look, I love the discussion. I love the interaction. Thank you for suggesting a lot of these metros. I learn something all the time. I got some awesome videos coming out. Airbnb. I've got a farm video on farmland being sold in Ohio. I got that. I got an Intel update on site at Intel coming up. The big factory that they're shutting down may cancel it. So got some crazy videos coming out. A couple more interviews on taxes, and I hope you guys go out, find an opportunity. Don't let the market do it for you. Have a good day. I'm the Housing Nerd, and I am out. OUT.